watching E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Share and subscribe.
Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob. This video, we're going to talk about the future of the Monster Universe. Yes, the future of the Monster Universe that is just barely started, really. I know some of you guys have probably seen, I've been putting up my green screen because if I get good lighting, I can use it, but this whole week has been overcast and rainy, so I really haven't had an opportunity. And when I've tried, you see, I think maybe one or two videos I tried using it and it didn't really come out that great. So, but I'm just going to keep it up until I get that nice light, and then I'll use it until then. But all right, so that was off topic. But just in case people were curious, that's why I mentioned it. But the future of the Monster Universe. Now, this is a question that's come up a couple of times already, which is interesting because we're only technically 2 movies into the Monsterverse. We're Godzilla 2014 and now King Kong Skull Island. But people are wondering about the future because the Monster Universe looks very small right now. You know, you got King Kong that just came out, Godzilla before that. You got Godzilla King of the Monsters coming out in 2019 and Godzilla vs. Kong in 2020. So the question is that it? I have been saying yes. I have been saying that that's it. Do I really believe that? No, I do not. I'm cautiously optimistic we're going to get more. And the reason I say cautiously optimistic is because whether or not they make more movies really depends on the success of the next 2. So far, so good. Godzilla did very well, and so did Kong Skull Island. So right now, we're 2 for 2. But they do have to make a little more money, I think. Godzilla total profit after marketing and giving their cuts off to other theaters, their profit was $52 million, which is good pocket change, but it's not a whole lot of money when you consider what went into the movie and stuff like that. But it's a profit, and it's a decent profit. I mean, and I'm being generous. I mean, you want to make more money when you put that much into a movie. So, but the key is that it did make profit. It did have a strong opening weekend. And I think right now the key for them is to position Godzilla King of the Monsters in such a way that it's not getting hurt by other movies. Because remember, X-Men came out right after Godzilla 2014. And then the week after that, we had Spider-Man. So, if you take away those 2 movies and you throw in other movies that are not as successful or as intense, like people want to go see it, Godzilla might have done a little bit better in the domestic box office. But nonetheless, I think the fact that it held its own the way it did is a good sign. And the fact that we know we're going to get a movie that's going to include other monsters that are recognizable on top of probably more monster action, I suspect that the second Godzilla movie will do probably close to $700 million worldwide, So, and we have to take into account inflation, yes. Prices between 2014 and 2019 will go up or have gone up. I know that they've gone up since 2014. I can tell you that much in my area. So there's no reason not to believe that they won't go up. So, even if it makes 800 million, a lot of that's going to be inflation. But I think they are going to do better for multiple reasons. And I think it will show in their profit. But to get to the point, to case in point, I think they are planning a larger universe. Again, I mentioned this in my last video, and I mentioned this in several videos already. And many of you know by now, I'm sure if you looked it up on the internet, that they did start a large writers panel for the Monster Universe. And you don't start a panel like that with different writers if you're only going to do 4 movies. So the question is, what's the plan after Godzilla vs. King Kong? Because that's where it gets interesting, because right now, if you want to look at in terms of monster popularity and in terms of the Toho monsters that are most recognizable here outside of Godzilla, they're already kind of putting all their cards out on the table right off the bat. So now I think what they're trying to figure out is a contingency. All right, let's say we're successful. Let's say all these monsters do well. People love these monsters, but, and this also begs the question whether or not they kill some of these monsters off. So you got to take that into consideration, as well as if you do kill them off, what other monsters are you going to bring in? Are you going to bring in more original monsters? Are you going to grab more Toho monsters? So some of you might actually get your dream. When I look at it from this perspective, I do see a chance for a Mechagodzilla. I don't necessarily agree that it'll work, but what else would you have to pull from? I would think in terms of popularity, he's one of the next ones in line. So I would have to really see how they're going to pull that off, and I would be impressed if they're able to pull it off. My concern is that they might make some design changes that really turn off fans of the original Toho, and I think that's something we have to kind of expect, but we'll have to see. But I think the future really depends on these next 3 movies. I really do. Next 2 movies. Yep. I really do. I really think that Godzilla King of the Monsters and Kong vs. Godzilla are going to be the deciding factor as to whether or not we see more movies. Now, whether or not these movies are going to involve one-off monsters like a Ghidorah movie or like a Mothra movie, that, again, remains to be seen. It depends how people react to the monster when they see them. Is there a popularity? The internet will tell them. Market research will tell them, how popular Mothra or Rodan or Ghidorah were in that movie. It wouldn't surprise me if they try to market Mothra. It wouldn't surprise me if she has some scene-stealing moments in the next movie. But again, I do think there's a future. I do think they're aiming to go beyond these next 2 movies. But money talks. That's the bottom line. Money talks. And also we got to remember that while I'm sure they might have negotiated already with Toho and maybe there's a deal struck in that we don't know about, when it comes to copyrights in Japan, Toho can pull the plug on this whenever they want. There's no, I don't want to say there's no contract, but the way copyright works in Japan is while there's an agreement, it can be written, the original owner can decide to pull out or pull the plug on it whenever they want. That's what I remember reading some time ago. I don't see Toho doing that. If it's making money, then Toho's making money, so I don't see them doing that at all. Plus, it gives more credence to their creation. It gives more credence and more reason for them to go ahead and do their own projects once again. So, and I know people hate when I say this, and I know other people agree with me, and and there's people that hate to hear it, but there is an influence of the success of the Godzilla movies here that determine whether you get more Toho movies. I know a lot of people are arguing that that Shin Gojira was already in talks to be done before the release of Godzilla 2014, but Godzilla 2014 was already in production when that idea came out, and the money they made from Godzilla 2014 in Japan was used to, create the movie. So, and that's not a bad thing either. It's not like a knock on Toho. If they wanted to do their own Godzilla movie with their own money, they can do it. But why bother? If they're making money off of a project that's their copyright, then use that money. Actually, it's a wise business decision, to be honest. So it's not a bad thing if America making Godzilla movies is influencing Godzilla movies in Toho, because you're getting Toho made Godzilla movies as well. We're getting the animated series, which we'll do a video about that. I'm going to probably say next week because you guys know I'm not going to be doing videos on the weekend, and I have 2 specific videos planned for tomorrow. So I'm trying to lay out at least a couple today because I have a couple of videos I want to do. But I think the future is bright. I really do think Godzilla King of the Monsters is going to do better than the first movie. I really think Godzilla vs. Kong, that one has an outside shot. Very small outside shot of cracking close to $1 billion. Small. A lot of that has to do with inflation, but depending on the success of Godzilla King of the Monsters and with the success of Kong, which has actually done better than Godzilla 2014, there is a very slight chance. Slight. I don't see it happening personally, but I do see it cracking in the 800s for that movie. So if Godzilla King of the Monsters makes about 657 and Kong vs. Godzilla makes about 8, you're going to see another monster movie. It's just whether or not they can develop projects that are going to really beat those two in terms of revenue. So I think as of right now, be cautiously optimistic that you're going to get more than 4 movies, but accept what you're getting now in case you don't. That way you're not disappointed. So I do think Destroy All Monsters is going to be one of them. I really do think so. I really do think that's going to be like their Infinity War as Destroy All Monsters. Just my opinion, and don't forget Pacific Rim. As I said in my prior video, I still think there's an outside shot that's going to be in the fold. And my prediction is that if it is, we'll see some sign towards that in next year's movie. Of course, I could be wrong. They could do it in another movie, but I think it would, if they're going to plant that seed, next year would be the time. So it's exciting, guys. This is it. We're in the midst of all this development now. We were all depressed after 2014 because it seemed so far away. But look, we're already heading into May, almost halfway through this year. We have next year, we have Pacific Rim. We're going to get all the Godzilla shit ramping up in a little over a year from now. And before you know it, Godzilla, King of the Monsters will be here. By then, we'll have some of these questions answered. And it's going to be it's an exciting time, in my opinion, to be a kaiju fan. And yeah, I would say just be happy, be excited about what's going on. You're going to get more Japanese Godzilla movies. You're going to get more movies from Toho. We're getting an animated Godzilla on Netflix early next year. It's coming out in Japan later this year. So this is it. Bask in this, man. Take it all in, enjoy it, because number one, we don't know how long it's going to last. And when it's over, we don't know how much longer before it happens again. And I'm super excited that all this is going on. And I'm happy to be doing videos again and sharing these experiences with you guys and seeing how excited you guys are and interacting, and the hype for all these movies are only going to build as the months go by. And I'm happy to be back for it, to be quite honest. So anyway, guys, that's it for this video. Let me know in the comments how you feel about the future of the Monsterverse. Do you feel optimistic? Do you not feel very optimistic? Do you think we're only getting these 4? No doubt. And we'll discuss it more. All right. Take it easy, guys. This is Rob signing off for E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment.
Thank you for watching E.T.N. You can follow E.T.N on Facebook, Twitch, or Twitter, or join the Nation Facebook page. Don't forget to click that subscribe button on your way out.